Hello, hello everybody. Welcome on in to Watch Me Wednesday. How are you all today? It is good to be back. I was away last week teaching in Shipshewana, Indiana, which was pretty awesome. Although when I got there, it seemed really cold to me because I'm so used to having the warm weather here. But it was pretty awesome to be teaching again in person. It was my second event teaching again in person. Hi, Londa, how are you? I was kind of up your way, Missouri. I was in Indiana last week, so that was kind of cool. And I had a great time teaching at Shipshewana Quilt Fest. I don't know how many of you made it there, but it's pretty cool. If you are here to watch me do some applique, say hi and let me know that you're here, or give me a thumbs up or whatever. Let me know that you're here. I see some of you are coming in right now. Also, you might want to share this video to your timeline so others can join us. Hi, Kyra, how are you? Happy Wednesday to you. Hi, Denise. Welcome on in. And at the end, by the way, I will have a question and answer as well. I'm going to cover a lot of tips and techniques today. I had a rather exciting morning this morning, just as we're waiting for people to come in. Hi, Beth. Welcome in from Massachusetts. My daughter lives in Massachusetts now. She moved back east in April. So I'll have to check in with her if there's a storm watch. I see that you're saying that. So this morning I had a pretty exciting morning. I went paddleboarding down the Salt River, and we saw 95 or more wild horses, which is really, really cool. So anyway, I want to share with you today some machine applique tips and techniques. And it's really going to be jam-packed full of information. So please hit that share button. And we're going to get started because I don't know how many of you have ever done applique. Give me a thumbs up if you've done any kind of applique, machine, needle turn, etc. Give me a thumbs up if you have. If you haven't, let me know in the comments, and we're going to get right to it. So let me turn to the overhead camera so that you can see what I'm going to show you today. This is kind of cool. So I don't know if a lot of you know that I had a couple patterns that I actually have laser cut applique shapes for. And what I like to do with these is I like to machine applique around them. This one I already prepared and ready to go, but I've got some tips on how to get started for you, which is really cool. So what I'm going to show you today is, let me see if I can get it up on the screen. So this one here is my Pretty Kitty, which is the cat quilt that's behind me, which I'm on the overhead view right now. But I'm showing you the floral part of the quilt. So that's going to be the part that I'm going to show you the applique. The cat is also appliqued, and the letters are pieced. So I want to show you a few things before we get started on this. First of all, the laser cut appliques, they do come in a little kit for you, and they are on my Feline Fine fabric line. So what you get in there is you get all the shapes, you get the cat, you get everything in there. So they come pre-fused, so you get all the different shapes in there, pre-fused, so you can go ahead and put them on whatever background you want to make your quilt. So it's really kind of cool that they're all done pre-cut, pre-fused. And this is the pattern, but if you don't want pre-cut, pre-fused, and say you want to do a needle turn applique, which is also cool to do because I know a lot of you out there like handwork, I provide for you in the pattern, I actually provide for you the templates for each piece so that you can go ahead and you can cut them out with whatever fabric that you want, and that way you can do it yourself. So if you don't want to do pre-cut, pre-fused, you've got the templates, and there's quite a few of them in here because we've got the flowers, the cat body, etc. So they're all included in the pattern, which is kind of cool. So you've got options. So if you are a needle turn fan, that might be the way to go. Now, what I have prepped here today is just this little bit here. And I'm going to walk you kind of through the steps for that. So this is I partnered with a company called Laser Cut Quilts, who did all my laser cuts for me. So you get with the flower, you get the background piece, you get the stem and the leaves, and you get 3 different color leaves, as you can see, and you get the flower pieces, the centers for the pink, and then the background. This is actually, I use this as a teaching tool, so this is not something you get. This just I use this as a teaching tool. But what you do with these pre-fused pieces is you can use an applique pressing sheet if you so desire, but I didn't have to on this. What I did is they come with this backing, and let me zoom in on this so that you can see. There's a paper backing on these, so it actually peels off here and reveals there's like a little bit of stick there. It's very, very, very lightweight. So you're going to peel off that backing and you're going to place it on your background fabric wherever you desire. Okay? And then I peeled off the other backings, placed them where I desired, but what I did first was I did the stem first. The stem, you actually have to, the stem and the leaves, there's actually just these little pieces inside here that kind of keep it intact here. You just have to, there's a couple little, I don't know what you call them, little nubs or whatnot, and you're going to clip them just to get the stem and the leaves released. So once they're released, you're going to, I laid my stem down first, and then I laid my flower on top, and then I positioned the leaves where I wanted them. Once I got that all done, then I took my dry iron now, and I just pressed. I didn't move back and forth. I pressed it down and held it just like the instructions say, just so that you can get that nice and stable on here. Once it's all stable where you want them, and I arranged them differently, I think, than I did the actual quilt. Let's see. So on the quilt, I think I arranged the leaves a little different. I did. I went from light to medium to dark. On the quilt here, I arranged them a little different. I went from light to dark to medium. So you can arrange them however you like, or you can mix and match, whatever is your preference. Then what I suggest that you do before we go over to the sewing machine, I want to show you a little trick. And a lot of you who have decorative stitches may know this already, but I want to share this with you because I think it's very, very helpful. Let me zoom in on this so that you can see what I did. I stitched out some possible stitches that I want to use or was thinking of using. And I'm sorry for this one. This one I used in the yellow. Let me see if I can get that closer. See, I did it in yellow thread. Oh, there we go. Yellow thread. So you can't really see it too well, but I did basically a blanket stitch there. And this, so what I did next to each stitch, which is for my memory, so that when I pick out my stitch, I know which one I'm choosing, so I can go and just select it on the machine. So this one, the blanket stitch, it was stitch number B7 on my machine. I have a Viking Husqvarna Designer Epic 2. So on this machine, this was the blanket stitch, and this is actually the default width and length and the number. So it was stitch B6 with a 2.0 width, 2.0 length. So if I choose that one, make sure that those are the settings on my machine. Then I stitched that one out at a little different to see maybe if I liked it a little longer spaces between them, a little longer width as well. Then this one is one that I've actually used on, and I forgot to bring them with me here. I wanted to show you those. I used it on my watermelon placemats. So the watermelon placemats, this is called the first stitch. I really, really like this. I use this for the seeds on the watermelon, and that was pretty awesome. I really liked that. So I'm going to insert myself in here so you can see me, just in case you want to see what I'm talking about. So anyway, so I used the first stitch, but then I don't remember, because that was a while ago. It was 2 years ago I made those watermelon placemats. So I don't remember what width and length I did those on. This is just another variation. I shortened the width and kept the length the same on that. Then this is another stitch that I liked, that I thought might look nice on the flower petal here. And then I chose some other decorative stitches that I thought might be kind of cool. I use this one, actually, I'm going to show you a quilt here. It's another one that I also have laser cuts for. It's my Saguaro table runner. So if you can see on this, I used that stitch because it kind of looks like little the spines or the prickers on the Saguaro. So I thought that that would be kind of a cool little stitch to get that effect on that cactus. So that's what I chose for that, and I'll show you this quilt a little later. But I used this B11 stitch, and then I just adjusted the width and the length, and I don't remember what I did on that particular one, but here I did the same thing again. I kind of like the shorter one. It's kind of sweet. I really like that. Then this is another different stitch, and then this one. I think for this one today, I think I want to use this stitch, the B31, 7.0 width, 7.0 length. But again, you don't have to do the same stitch on the whole piece either, by the way. You can definitely do a different stitch on each segment. So if you wanted to do one stitch on the outside, another one on the inside here, another one here, it doesn't have to be. There's nothing that says it has to be the same thing. I did a blanket stitch, I think, oh yeah, on this whole quilt I did a blanket stitch. I did it on the flowers and the cat. I did a blanket stitch, but you could do it different. And it kind of looked cool if you did on the cat, like one of those furry ones. It would look pretty cool on there because it kind of mimics that fur. So let's, I'm going to take you over to well, actually, let me take you back to me here for a second, because I want to talk a little bit about the sewing machine and what you kind of have to set up. And then I'm going to take you over to the sewing machine. I'm going to show you what I do to get that stitch going around that flower. Okay, so sewing machine. This is your opportunity to use some of those beautiful colored threads, if you will, or decorative threads. This is a great opportunity for that. So if you have a variegated you like, if you have a thicker thread that you like, definitely use them here, because it's a fantastic opportunity to do that. I chose for this piece, I chose four. I have one up in the sewing machine already. I chose a purple, a green, and a yellow, and a pink, like a hot pink. 50 weight Aurifil thread is what I chose for this. Now, if I went 40 weight thread, obviously the stitches, you'd see more of them. I love that. So you take the opportunity to match up what you want, and they don't necessarily have to match to that fabric background. In this case, I wanted them to kind of match with it, if you will. If you want, here's another little tip. If you want not to really see the decorative stitch, you may want to choose an 80 weight or 100 weight thread. So there are 100 weight threads, and they're typically silk. And I have done some machine applique where I have turned under the edges. In fact, in my Judy Niemeyer classes that have applique, we typically will turn under those edges. And you could use like a little blind hem stitch where it just takes a teeny tiny little bite out of the fabric, And then you can use that 100 weight thread, and I would choose a color that actually matches that background, because then the thread just kind of blends right on in and you don't see it. So it almost looks like you've needle turned it. So if you're going for a specific look, try the different weight threads. So like in this where I showed you these different threads here, or the different stitches, you can also stitch out in different thread weights, so you can see what it's going to look like in a different thread weight as well. So that is super, it's a great reference tool, but what you should do definitely is write down what stitch it is, write what width and what length, so that way you have a reference to go back to. I just cut it's like a 5.5 inch square and did a few that I liked, and that's what I did. But use the different weights of thread so you can actually see what it's going to look like too before you go ahead and choose it. Okay, so now let me take you over to the sewing machine here, and we're going to talk about feet, and we are going to talk about the thread. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see that, is the pink thread I chose, and it's kind of fun. I'm going to put myself right there. It's kind of fun thread, and I think it'll contrast quite nicely with the pink flower and the darker pink kitty cat faces. Now, when I go in here, I said I wanted to use, let's show you, I said I wanted to use this guy here, the B7. The B7, oh no, that's not the one I want. No, I want this one here, this one. The B31, and that's the one I'm going to look for on my machine. So I want B31, and okay, where are we here? B and 31. Nope. B. Now why am I not finding it? Isn't that crazy? I was looking for it, and now I can't find it. I should have had it pulled up. B. Oh wait, there it is. Oops. B. It's not cooperating with me today, folks. Sorry. I might have to choose a different one. It is not cooperating with me. Let's go. Or maybe I copied the wrong number down. That could be why. That's terrible, right? When you copy the wrong number down. Let's see. Yep. No, I didn't. All right. We're going to go with a different one. Hang on, folks. Sorry. Technical difficulties, right? Let's see. We're going to go with... I'm going to go with my B11. Isn't this terrible? I'm like having a difficult time. Now see, I wrote them down and I'm not finding my stitches. Is that hysterical? And maybe I wrote the wrong stitches down. That could be. So don't do what I just did. do what I said to do. So we're going to go, let's see where, oh, there it is. There's one. Oh, where I just got off of it. We're going to go with this one. We're going to go with B11, and that is the B11, which is the one that I used for the cactus. So this guy, we're going to do that one instead because I just found it. So the machine tells you which foot to use. So I have 2 feet that I could potentially use for a stitch here. I have on my Viking the B foot and the A foot. And on this one, it's telling me to use the B foot. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that on there. And I do have in my bobbin case, I did wind the same color thread in there. And I'm going to use that smaller stitch. So I'm going to go to 5 width. And I'm going to go to 6 in the length. And that's what I have. So now, this particular stitch, because it's got a little line going down the center. Here it is. So it's got the line going down the center. I'm going to put the center line of my, let me see if I can show you here, the center line, that little red center line in the middle of the foot there, I'm going to put that right on the edge of my pink fabric, because that line is going to go down the middle. Now you can really start anywhere on your piece. I'm going to start down by the stem just because it seems to make sense to me. But you can really start anywhere. You can do a back tack if you want, but you're going to come across it again. And I like to go a little bit slower when I'm doing this so that I can count my stitches. I like to do that. And if you have needle down, put it in needle down so that you know where your needle is going to drop initially, and then you can get started. And make sure that you have that the zigzag throat plate in. And it's going to make this little star for me, and you're just going to let it do its thing. I'm not putting any pressure on this piece. I'm just letting it follow the edge of this flower, and I'm watching that middle red line so that I can see where it's going. And you can, you can do, if you want to test out different stitches on this, say this is just a test piece, you can certainly change the stitches midway, which is fine too. And I don't have any backing on this, by the way, because I have the fusible, and the fabric seems to be just fine. Sometimes people like to back them to give it a little more stability. I think if you're using a denser applique type stitch, you may want to do that, but in this case, this particular case, you don't need to do that. So I'm just going along that edge, and if you get a rhythm up, you can take it faster. And I'm going to show you when I take this off here. I'm not going to go around the whole thing because I want you to see this stitch and how it looks. There's nothing that says that a lot of people who do machine applique will oftentimes just go with the blanket or the buttonhole stitch, just because that's what they've learned. But there's nothing to say that you have to do that stitch. When I taught this particular little class at Quilt Market, and I was teaching shop owners, I told them to try the different stitches, because a lot of shop owners also sell machines. And it's a great way to teach somebody who's purchased a new machine how to use their stitches. So you can see here the stitches coming out, and they look really pretty. I'm going to do a couple more, and then I'm going to take this out so that you can see. And actually, maybe I might change it up so you can see another stitch too, just to see what it looks like. Let me find a good place here to stop. I want it to complete a star. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to change it. Let's see. I want to change it to this one. Let's see if I can find it. Go. Oh, here's the this guy, the little feather looking stitch. So we're going to change it. Now it's a little similar to what we had, but it's the feather stitch, this one here. So it's actually D35, it's not B. I don't know why I wrote B, and it's this one right here. This one right here. I'm looking at the camera backwards. It's right there, it is, this one right here. That's the one I'm going to do. And I'm going to set the stitch length to 5.5, or the width to 5.5. And I am going to do the length to 3.5. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch this. So you're going to see a little bit of a difference. It's almost like half of the star, sort of, but it's called a feather stitch. So it's going to stitch similar to this the little star that I did. It has that center stitch running down, so you can still run that very center red line of the presser foot down the edge of the fabric, so it stays nice and neat along there. And that's looking really cute too. So that's a cute one as well. I don't know why I was writing B instead of D. So make sure you write the correct letter or the correct stitch, because then you'll be like me, like, uh-oh, what happened? I think the sun got to me this morning, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, all right, so I'm going to get to a good stopping point here, and then I'm going to show you what I have here so you can take a look at these stitches and how they look different on this flower other than a regular buttonhole stitch. Okay, so let me get the overhead cam up, and you can see here, and let me zoom in here so you can see. I think I'm zoomed in actually as much as I can get, but let me bring it up to the camera so you can see how the stitches look a little different. But don't they look kind of cool? And feather, everything in nature too is not perfect. And that's why I did the cactus the way I did. I did it with this little stitch here because it kind of looked like spines. I could have done it with that feather stitch as well, but it looks pretty cool. So let me show you that saguaro cactus again so that you can see the stitches on that. And I did them with, you know, that stitch, and I think I used actually a 40 weight thread on this because you can really see them a lot more. It's just a little more defined, if you will, but it looks like the spines on a cactus, so I thought that was kind of cool. So let me come back here, and I'm going to show you here. So let me show you. Here's the quilt. It's a table runner. Okay, so the table runner is it's a composition of 5 saguaro cactus, and this was done with my electric desert fabric collection, and that actually is kind of the same deal as my the Pretty Kitty pattern, and I'll put the links for everything above me or below me if you're watching on YouTube. So the saguaro table runner is a pattern, and it also has the templates in it just like the Pretty Kitty, and these are the laser cuts. So the laser cuts come complete. You have all the laser cuts for the saguaro, so you get the different fabrics all cut, and you can put them on whatever background you want. And I have this way zoomed out for you, so there you go. Okay, so it has, so those two are 2 of the pre-cuts too. I love the pre-cuts for a lot of reasons, just because it makes your life just a little bit quicker if you want to get a project complete. You know, I think it's cute, it's fun. It took me to take the papers off and to iron this down maybe 5 minutes, maybe, and then I was ready to go and I was ready to sew. So that's kind of fun that you can get right into your project, and that's what the laser cuts help you do. You don't have to worry about cutting it out, and if you're doing needle turn, you're going to needle turn, you know, placing it where you need to place it, or if you're going to put your own fusible on, putting your own fusible on. So it takes a lot of those steps out, which I like, and of course I like my fabric too, so I'm a little biased on that. But anyway, so I would love to know if you have any questions, and I apologize for me not writing the right numbers on here. I don't know what happened to me. I think they were C and D, and I just was into the writing B. And by the way, I used a permanent micron pen to write down those stitches. So I'm going to go back when I'm done here and look for those stitches and write the right numbers down so that I have them. If you have any questions, definitely put them down in the comments, and I'm going to scroll back to see if there's any there. Kyra says she's still learning hand applique. I think that's what she says. Yep, still learning hand applique. Well, good, Kyra. You'll have to teach me. I've done some hand applique, but not a lot. It's great for when you need a project and you want to take it with you. So that's kind of cool. Any other questions? I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll check and see. If you want to use, like I said, a variegated thread, your stitch is going to look different because obviously the colors are variegated, so it will look different. What is Kyra's saying something funny, I think. Horse hypnosis. We'll say that the mesmerizing view of the horse has distracted the stitch numbers. That's probably true. I don't know if you were with me in the beginning. I said I was on the river this morning. I did some paddle boarding and we saw 95 wild horses, so they probably did mesmerize me. It was an amazing and awesome sight to see, which was really kind of fun. I've never witnessed that before, and I never paddle boarded before, so it was really kind of fun. We got out super early, so it didn't get too hot, and the river was super cool too. Anyway, that, my friends, is the applique tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please share it with your other quilting friends. I would love for you all to join in and try some machine applique. I am going to upload this video to my YouTube channel, so it will be there for you to watch later. If you are on YouTube watching this, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell notification so that you're always notified when I upload a new video. I would appreciate it. And give me a thumbs up on YouTube because that's how my videos will get seen, believe it or not. Otherwise, you can still watch it here on Facebook. The videos still live on Facebook, and you'll be able to also watch it on Instagram. So I do post it cross social media, so you will be able to see it in any one place, but you get me live here on Wednesdays. So thank you for popping in. I love you all. I love sitting and sewing with you, and I will be back again in 2 weeks with another tutorial, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Happy quilting, everybody. Bye-bye.